A warm welcome back to the flight deck of the ToLiss Airbus A340-600 with Stevens on our part 2 stream of our long-haul flight from Sydney, Australia to Dubai. As promised, we are back here shortly before the top of descent into Dubai. We are flying for 13 hours, 38 minutes right now. And you didn't miss much. Uneventful flight, no issues, no system malfunctions, etc. Nothing specific. We did our step climbs from flight over 300 to 320, 340, 360, and finally to 380. And our position is shortly before Muscat in the Oman. And when we look down, we see, I can try to zoom it a little in. Oh, it's not working. For whatever reason, I know why. Okay, the cursor was somewhere. Okay, I'll try again to zoom in. There you see Muscat International Airport, and we're not far away from our top of descent. Means in about we have 12:09, in 9 minutes we start our descent into Dubai. We have to prepare some things for our approach, and I promise you to do the original Airbus procedures. And when you learn Airbus, or you will be type rated, you have some tools at hand to navigate through the preparations. You learned already on ground in Sydney how to program the FMS with the diffs rip. I can write it down once again for you to remember. There you see it again, diffs rip. This is not a name for a child or whatever. This is just a synonym, the first letters for things to check in which series. So D is the data, the aircraft status, E is the ENIT page, ENIT A this time, F is flight plan, S is the secondary, R is the RADNAV, and E is the ENIT B page, P is the progress page, and the second P is the performance page. This is the programming on ground. Now you have some similar thing, or a little different, but also a good help for preparing the approach. That means we play with the head. You see these pages here: flight plan, RADNAV, prog page, perf page, fuel prediction, and secondary. It looks like a head if you see, if you put it like this, if you draw a line. So this is the head game, preparing the approach in Airbus. So we start with a flight plan. This is just to check if you have the correct star and the approach in the FMC. This time we have the Imbit 3 Charlie arrival for runway 30 left. Everything is programmed properly. So then the next step would be the RADNAV. Is there something we would like to put in? Let's see. Let's check our approach charts. And we see that we don't have any VOR or NDB to put into the RADNAV. Maybe in the arrival. No, this is just a simple RNAV arrival without any navigational aid. So there is nothing we would really put into the FMC. The only thing we just can check is if the frequency is correct. It's 111.3, and the course is 300. This time on this chart is 299, so it's a little different. But 1 degree is not really a problem. Okay, so then we turn over to the Prague page. I still have Sydney 34 left in it. This is way outdated right now because we are far, far away from it. So we put in OMDB for Dubai and our runway 30 left. And then we have, because we don't have any navigational aid for our approach, just to be orientated, we have 71 miles to go. And the funny thing is, how can you calculate calculate your top of descent? How many miles do we have to do until top of descent? This is pretty easy. Normally you multiply with 3, so that means if you are in 38,000 feet, you take the 38, multiply with 3, that would be 90, and 24, this is 114 nautical miles you have to start your descent at the latest. Because I'm a lazy guy, you can do it pretty easy. You just switch on the meter scale. You see there is the meter, and when you subtract the last 2 digits, in this case 380 is 11,600 meters, erase the last 2 digits, it means 116, and these are the miles you need. You don't need to calculate, you just subtract 2 digits and you have the mileage you need for your top of descent. Okay, so far so good. Because the Imbed 3 Charlie arrival is, as you see, a very long one. You come from Imbed going this constraint, then you go to Delta Bravo 514, turning around, coming back to Delta Bravo 507 and going on to the final. Maybe we get a shorter one. So I suggest, even if we are still out for our top of descent, we start our initial descent already, because I think we get maybe a shortcut on arrival. So I put in maybe flight level 200 and we start our descent. The FMA callers in the Airbus procedure are imminent. That means I say descent alt blue and flight level 200 blue. And the pilot monitoring says checked, because he acknowledges what you just said. Okay, so ATC is offline right now. I just check if it's still the case. We not even have any ATIS or similar. We had it an hour ago, but not now. Let's see, we have some inbounds to Dubai. 2 aircraft right in front of me. This is not for Dubai, this also. So 2 aircraft in front of me going to Dubai, and an Emirates flight coming from the west, but it's way up in front. So 2 aircraft in front of us. Nothing special. So we're descending to flight level 200, and you see that we have to be in Imbed 12,000 or below. Let's just check the constraints. And this is the first thing. This constraint is not implemented, so we put it in manually. That means 12,000 minus, that means 12,000 or below, and a speed constraint of 230 knots. Insert, everything is fine. So next one is Delta Bravo 520, 230, 11,000 or below. This is in 230, 11,000 minus. Next one is Delta Bravo 518, 10,000 or below. Yep, it's in. Vuitton, 8,000 or below. Also correct. Delta Bravo 515 has a constraint of 210, there it is. Delta Bravo 14, 6,000 or below. Yep, that's correct. So, and because I don't think that we really fly everything, I switch from the managed descent into the open descent. That means thrust idle, open descent. The rest is unchanged. So that means now we keeping our speed of 0.81, but we don't follow any constraints which are in the FMC, and we go down with idle thrust. And in a couple of seconds you will see switching from EPR in the upper ECAM engine display. There you see idle is blinking green. That means the first 5 seconds as an intention getter, and thereafter it is steady, as you see. Well, so thereafter we only have one constraint, Delta Bravo 508. And this is a speed constraint of 185, and it was amber. Amber means, the amber star means we don't make this constraint, because here as gear goes C 210 speed, and he has to reduce. So we have to be aware that we do it manually if it's not working properly in the FMC. So now you see amber enter destination data. We will do that. We had the information fetched already before with the ATIS. The wind was 3209 knots, scattered through 3,500, 28 degrees, and 1014. QNH 1014. I pre-selected down here. Go back on standard. So then I have already the correct QNH inserted when we switch at the transition level. 28 degrees, temperature, and the wind was 320 with 9 knots. Transition level is 150, this is correct. The MDA is, let's see. The MDA is 260 feet. Inserted, and you see it here in the PFD, in the FMA. Okay, the go-round. The engine out acceleration is at 450 feet. This is really strange. We put in the MSA or the go-round altitude, whichever is the lower one. So we have, hold it, 3,000. Our MSA is also 3,000. Yeah. So we put in 3,000 feet. Okay, so this was the, we had the flight plan page, the RADNAV page, PROC page, the performance page. The next is fuel prediction. Fuel prediction means how many extra fuel we still have. That means 9.2 tons. This is quite a lot. Over 1 hour of fuel. In a couple of minutes when we finish this preparation, I tell you why we have so much fuel left. But before we do, we just check that we are 4,000 feet below our profile, and that means that we can just shorten up our arrival. That means that we, after impact, we put in delta bar 506. And insert. That means it's a straight in approach, and right now we're only 1,700 below our original program. 1,000 feet to go. Okay, we continue descending with a managed descent, I would say. Speed descent down to flight level 110, or better just say 11,000 feet. So flight level 110 blue, checked. Right now we can do it managed because now the flight profile in the FMS is pretty much the one we will fly, so we don't need to go below the profile, and we can just check here that the vertical deviation error is decreasing. 1,300 now, almost 1,200. So we will, in a couple of minutes, we will get our donut, the magenta circle you see here, which indicates that you are below profile, and then we make a profile descent. Okay, continue with our performance page. We finished that. We were at the fuel prediction page. We have 10.7 extra fuel right now because we shortened up our arrival right now, and this means that we have way enough fuel for another approach or even more before we have to divert to an alternate. And the second or the last one for our approach preparation would be the secondary flight plan. With the secondary flight plan we make a copy active, and then I put in the runway 30 right, in case of we have a short notice switch of runways, and we only have to activate the secondary and everything is fine. Impet 3 Charlie is still valid. We insert, and right now we have the approach on the secondary. You see the performance page is inserted already because we copied the active flight plan where it is inserted. But the minimum is still the minimum of the 3630 left. So we put in the 30 right, and the 30 right has the minimum of 240. A little lower. So everything is done. So this completes our preparation. You see the magenta donut is there. We are exactly on profile, as you see on the proc page, -20, so more or less accurate. So we continue now on our profile into Dubai. Okay, right now we need a briefing, approach briefing. Once again, the pilot monitoring is starting the briefing, and he starts with the MSA. The MSA, as we mentioned before, is the highest 3,800 in our approach 3,000 feet. I'm planned for an Impet 3 Charlie arrival, shortened up as mentioned before, and then for an ILS approach 30 left. This is the longer runway, the left side, and we just need to go to the left of the terminal. Don't need to cross any runways. And the minimum is 260 baro. The missed approach procedure is as follows: time direct Delta Bravo 755, then on track 314 to Delta Bravo 756 at 4000, then left turn on track 224 to egg not hold at 4000. So we just check in the FMS that we have this. There is Delta Bravo 707. No, this is not correct because I brief the wrong one. This is the normal mistake if you have the wrong page in front of your eyes.
Zulu. Expect ILS approaches. Arrival runway 30 left. Surface when 320 at 7. When variable between 270 and 030. Visual visibility 10 kilometers or more. Temperature 29er. Dew point 2.19er. QNH altimeter 1014. HPA. Few clouds at 3,500. Advise aircraft type on first contact. Enhance weight turbulence separation in force. NNN runway occupancy required. Squall to sign transponder code until on stand. Caution possible glide slope flood. Advise ATC copied Alpha. Advise on initial contact. You have information. Alpha.
Okay, we have information Alpha, thank you very much. So then we switch to guard again. Okay, so the missed approach was absolutely wrong. This is time direct to Delta Bravo 707, then on track 284 to egg not hold at 3000. Delta Bravo 707, egg not and hold at 3000. You see, this is a pretty good example for if you brief what is in the approach chart and nobody cross-checks what is in the FMC, you will not recognize that there is a mistake and you fly in doubt later on maybe the wrong missed approach procedure. So one is briefing the missed approach, the other, in this case the pilot flying, is checking in the FMC that is the correct missed approach procedure. Okay, so we're approaching 11,000, we continue down to 7,000. Triple click because a mode reversion occurred, so we continue managed with down thrust descent, alt blue and flight level 70, which is not correct because we passed the transition level already, and you see the blinking standard. That means you have to switch to altimeters. So now I say to the pilot monitoring, set QNH, and he says QNH 1014 cross-checked. He cross-checks all altimeters, also the standby altimeter, and says passing 10,300 feet. Now pilot monitoring is cross-checking with his altitude or with his altimeter and says checked if everything is okay. Okay, we're reducing to 250 knots. It's very dynamic right now. What's going on? We're approaching 10,000 feet at the latest. Now we switch on the seatbelt signs. And because we're passing 10,000 feet, we are switching on the lights. We are switching to constraints, switching on the ILS. And then the pilot monitoring announces via PA, cabin crew, 10 minutes to landing. This is a German airline procedure, not really an Airbus procedure. Okay, so we're reducing 250 knots. And now the pilot monitoring briefing is complete. And I continue. So the approach guidance is flight directors on, autopilot on, auto thrust on final. I will switch off auto thrust and autopilot and will land manual. We have a runway length which is absolutely uncritical. It's really long, over 4,600 meters. So we don't need auto brake at all. So we keep the auto brake off. I do full reverse upon landing until taxi speed of 70, then put in the reverses, braking to taxi speed, and then we leaving the runway, I think, through a high-speed taxiway, maybe Kilo 8 or Kilo 6 to the apron. This all with config full. This is also in our performance page, pre-selected, yeah, full. And and then we go to the gate. I'm not sure which gate we really get, but since we don't have ATC, I think we can choose our own. Special operations, none, are all by the book and following the SOPs. Which are the threats? Any threats? I don't think about, so no threats, no mitigations. And that's about it. Briefing is complete. All right. So then we are on our way into Dubai. Okay, so the constraint was 12,000 or below, 230 knots. We have a little less than 230 knots because he's adjusting the profile pretty accurately, and that means this is the reason why you have a speed range. So you see the double dashes of the speed indicator in the PFD is at 230 knots, as the constraint says, but you have some brackets around it, which is for performance reasons. If you're above the profile, you go a little higher than the 230 knots. It's the upper bracket, and if you're more or less below or in the profile, you can go a little below the speed as it does right now. So this is the lower bracket. So let's see. Approach profile set for 2000, so we continued down to 2000 feet, and the aircraft will, because it's programmed in the FMC, will follow the constraints, which are at setpo 2000 or below, so we can go down straight to 2000. And I forgot to say 2000 blue. The flight monitor is checked. Right now I need to adjust my pedals for landing. Adjust my screens, make it a little brighter. And now we are ready for the approach. Okay, so since we are in the approach, then please, the approach checklist. ROREF, we checked already. QNH 1014, QNH 1014, seat belts on. Minimum baro 260 feet. Auto brake is off on engine start selector. Norm, approach checklist complete. So we check India Delta Bravo Whiskey is identified 111.3, but we are still far out, still 30 miles out, so no indication yet of the localizer. So we passed the 14-hour mark already, and I forgot to explain why we have so much fuel. You see, we have 17.5 fuels upon arrival. The reason for that I can show you in between very quickly. You see, on the OFP we flew with the costliness of 180, and simply puts out a speed of 0.84, but our aircraft, ToLiss aircraft, was flying with 0.83 with the cost index of 180, so there's a mismatch, and because we were slower, it took a lot more time. At the end it was 20 minutes over the normal time, which was here because of the speed difference. That meant that we saved a lot of fuel, because if you fly 0.83 or 0.84 over 14 hours, this is a big difference, and the difference is over 5 tons of fuel. So we save 5 tons of fuel because we flew 0.83 instead of 0.84. This is the reason why we are slower. 14 hours and 6 minutes was calculated on this trip with 0.84, but we are still on our way and need still about 8 minutes. So 14:16, 14:18, around this will be our time because of the slower speed. So let's check the aircraft. We have 2000 below coming from the side. Okay, we are 23 miles final. I will tell Dubai that we are coming. Dubai traffic, Stevens 1 is on the localizer for runway 30 left, 22 miles out. Dubai traffic. So you see this traffic, minus 19, he's in 2000 feet already, approaching Uldot. If he goes onto the final 30 left, I think we have to reduce. Let's see how many miles he's in front. This is only 3 miles. Okay, we reduce the speed, so we configure early. Flaps 1, speed checked. Flaps 1. Okay, activate approach phase. Confirm, confirmed. Is active, so now we are able to reduce further because he doesn't follow the speed constraint anymore. You see he's reducing right now, and we come on flaps 2. Speed checked. Flaps 2. So we only are 2.5 miles behind this traffic. There will be a very, very close one. I think we have to reduce to minimum approach speed.
2,500.
And we have the localizer indication, so approach mode will be armed. Autopilot 2, Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1+2, lock, glide slop blue. Okay, so still 2.5 miles. We are doing gear down. Gear down. Okay, flaps 3. Speed checked. Flaps 3. I think the aircraft is definitely on 30 left. Oh, now the target disappeared, and we have another one at Modus on the final. Okay, flaps full. Speed checked. Flaps full. Okay. We cannot do any more than reducing to minimum approach speed, but right now the traffic is disappeared. Oh, there it is.
2,000.
Oh, goodness. You see it on the left side, you see it? What the hell is going on here? Speed Ulster. You see the traffic? There's a 747. But what I don't understand, he's not following the localizer 30 left alt. Okay, so we continue. I think it will be a go around because this is not gonna happen that we are. Okay, he's turning left now. Whatever he's doing.
Traffic.
Okay. Yeah, this is the traffic.
Traffic. Traffic.
Okay, we have it in sight. And the cabin is ready. Let's see what he's doing. I think he's doing a visual approach. Maybe switching over to the 30 right runway. This Dubai traffic, this the 747 on final to Dubai. Are you going to runway 30 right? Looks like he's turning into 30 right. 747-400. Okay, if he's going to 30 right, then everything is good. Okay, so glide slope interception, glide star. Let's see, that should be at modus. This is correct. So now we set the go-around altitude 3,000 feet. And still need to have the 747 inside. I lost it. Oh, he's on 30 left again. He's turning left, right, left, right. It's unbelievable what he's doing. Okay, so what we could do is switch over to 30 right, because otherwise it will be a go around. Yeah, this is a good idea. So, landing checklist. ECA memo, landing no blue. Cabin ready. Landing check is complete. Autopilot goes off. Flight directors off. Bird on. That means that we are doing it ourselves. Auto thrust is off. And we're switching over to runway 30 right. 1000 stabilized. 1000 is checked. Inside continue. Dubai traffic. Stevens 1 is swinging over to runway 30 right. Dubai traffic. Okay, so the 30 right is a little bit behind the runway of 30 left. That means that we have to level off a little because we have 4 right on the poppy. Now we are on profile. We switch off the ILS because it's the wrong indication.
Glide slow.
Yeah, this is true.
500. 400.
100 above.
Checked.
200.
'Minimum.
Continue.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Retard.
10.
5.
Okay, spoilers. Reverse green. No auto brake. '70 checked. Reverses are in. Braking. Okay, 14 hours, 17 minutes. So we take the next, this is not the high-speed turnoff. So everything we briefed previously was wrong because we landed on a different runway. Finally, Mike 5 Alpha is the taxiway, so we go straight up Mike 5 Bravo to hold short of 30 left. But I think because we did this visual swing over to 30 right, we prevented a go around, a costly go around, because it takes time and it costs money. And it was absolutely unnecessary because we saw it before. So either we could have made to discontinue the approach, making a 360, but this is not very good in lower altitudes. So a go around would be the solution logically, but because there's no traffic, not much traffic here online, and the 30 right runway is absolutely available, I think this is the best choice. Okay, so holding short of 30 right, 30 left, we can do our after landing items, and we start the after landing items once the pilot flying is disarming the spoilers. This is the sign, the trigger sign for the after landing items. Lights, landing lights going down, the taxi light from takeoff to taxi. We are switching on the master switch, but no, only the master switch, just to prepare the APU. We switching our flight directives as we do here. The bird is back to normal. Then we switch off the terrain on ND, and flaps coming up to 0, and TCAS is going to mode charge to standby, and we switch off the predictive radar, predictive wind shear system and the radar, and these are the items for the after landings. Okay, ATC would have cleared us to cross the runway. That means that we have the strobes still on to cross the runway. Otherwise we would have switched the strobes previously to auto. So Dubai traffic, Stevens 1 is crossing runway 30 left in Mike 5 Bravo, Dubai traffic. So left side is clear, the right side is also clear. Okay. Dubai traffic, Stevens 1 runway 30 left is vacated. Dubai traffic. Strobes auto. All right. So we go second to the right. What a big airport, and not much traffic here. I think everybody is at the Dubai World Airport in the meantime. Okay, turning speed 10 knots. And because we are such a big aircraft, we have a taxi camera, which is switched on right now. So we can be easily on the yellow line. Okay, so our gate today is Fox 10. We start the EPU. There is Fox 10. Let's see, we have to oversteer a lot with this big bird. Oh, I think here we go. See if it's enough. Oh, looks not bad. So taxi light, taxi and turn off light off. Looking at the taxi camera to be on the yellow line. And this is easy for us to stop because we see where the crossbars are, because we don't have a marshaller here to guide us in, and no docking system. A little to the left. Okay, so I think we can go a little further. I think this is it. Okay, parking brake is set. APU is available, APU bleed on. And now we switch off engines. And the transponder off, and 2000, and then PA, announcement of the pilot monitoring, cabin crew, disarm doors. And you see the doors page now, all the slides are armed, and because of the call, disarm doors, the cabin attendants are allowed to disarm the doors now. We have to simulate that with switching off the beacon. Normally is this the last item we do, but then we start to the slides to disarm. You see now they start to disarm, and in the meantime, while this is happening, we switch off the fuel pumps. See that the slides are all disarmed except of the emergency slides along the wings. These are just emergency windows, so the slides will be armed all the time. They won't be disarmed at all, so everything is fine now, and we can switch off the seatbelt signs. This is the sign for the cabin attendants that they are allowed now to open doors, and the last item would be the beacon off. Okay, and this is our trigger to order the parking checklist. Parking brake, our chocks. The parking brake is set. Engines off. Exterior lights set. Fuel pumps off. Parking checklist completed. All right, so that's it. We are in Dubai. Flight time was 14 hours, 17 minutes, as I said, because we flew with 0.83 instead of 0.84. It took 11 minutes more, but only 11 minutes more. So we saved about 9 minutes now because we were 20 minutes down. I think because of shortening the Impact 3 Charlie arrival for a straight in. Okay, so this was the flight. We just look if we get a jetway for disembarking the passengers. This one is on the way. Very good. So another thing would be the chocks. Okay, so the chocks are in place and the external power is there. You see the jetway is connected.
Heavy on Kilo, request taxi.
We open the
Kilo
1L.
Straight ahead, Kilo, Lima 1, hold Mike Charlie for me.
Open the cargo doors.
Kilo, hold Lima 1, Mike Lima.
And that's it. So
1067 heavy.
that means
Kilo
we have
106, incorrect. Kilo, Lima
external
1,
power A
Mike,
and we
hold
have
Mike
external
Charlie.
power B. That means that we could
Apologies, can't read my own writing.
switch off the APU.
Kilo, Lima
The
1,
temperatures are
Mike, hold Mike Charlie.
28, so I will
1067.
wait until the passengers are all disembarked, because switching off the APU now would mean the cabin would be heating up because we don't have any air conditioning and any cooling. So I just wait for the passengers to be disembarked. Other thing is if the external power for whatever reason breaks down, you don't have any electricity, so it's not very professional. So we wait until the passengers are out, and then we switch off the APU. Okay. That's about it. Our stream comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed this flight with Stevens, with the original Airbus procedures on the ToLiss Airbus 340, a wonderful add-on. So I really can highly recommend this one because it comes close to the real thing as it gets. I can tell you from experience, because I did not fly in real life the Airbus 340-600, at least not yet. But right now I fly the Airbus A330, and as I said before, it's pretty similar. And I can tell you the way to fly, the way hand flying and how the aircraft behaves, it's very much accurate, almost like the real thing. So you cannot get a better solution for a simulation than ToLiss. The whole Airbus family, starting from the A319, 20 to 21, and the A340-600. A really, really big recommendation. Last thing we do after we have landed, we check on the data position monitor page the movement of our IRSs. You see, IRS 1 is still moving with 8.3, or better to say the inaccuracy is 8.3 nautical miles. The IRS 2 9.8, and IRS 3 is even 10.7. And there are tables in the books where you can see at what deviation of the IRS you have to be aware of, or you have maybe changed the IRS.
Walk 1757, copy. Straight ahead. Right, Lima 4.
But I can tell you from experience, I know the table, I have it right here. So you, on a 14-hour flight, you need to have excess of 25 to make a tech lock entry, and we are far away from that. So everything is fine.
Taxi straight ahead, Mike, hold Mike 13 up.
So we can secure the aircraft after that easily. And as I see, the passengers are already disembarked, so I can switch off the APU. And that's it. So this wraps things up. I hope you enjoyed this stream with the Airbus 340. Hope to see you again soon. And if you have any comments or questions, just go ahead. Thank you very much for joining us. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Walker 1757, my chart doesn't seem to show Lima 4 Alpha. I have Lima 4, but